guys, I'm Kelvin. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my channel is all about documenting my experience in property and also what it's like to be a property investor and growing and scaling a HMO portfolio. By profession, I am a project manager and a chartered surveyor. I've been in the industry now for 10 years working in the corporate space. And this video, I'm going to be taking you through month 2 of my current project. One thing I need to update you guys on is the project was originally meant to be a 6-bed HMO conversion. What we've had to do is downsize it and keep it to a 5-bed by not going into the loft. The reason we did this is because there was a planning risk. And although we would have been able to get more money out in the back end when the project's finished, I didn't want to put the risk on my investors and wanted to get this project through and completed. The good thing is that there was still profit in the deal from going from a 3-bed to a 5-bed, even though we could have gone to a 6-bed. In the future, I do have the option to go up into the loft and then create an additional bedroom for 2 people to be in there. However, I just wanted to get in and out, do the project right the first time, and then project 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then go for the bigger, nicer projects. So come inside, I'll take you through the progress. Let's go. Just coming into the hallway from the last video, which I'll link above. The main thing that's happened in the last month of updates is basically we have progressed the first fix. What I've been told, and a lot of people in the comments have basically found a lot of value in what I'm saying, but I need to remember to be talking things down in layman terms. So with a property, you would have like a first fix electrics and you have a second fix electrics. With the first fix, after the property's been ripped out back to brick, we are running completely new cabling throughout the property. Here you can see we've got a back box, which is basically going to be the casing to the electrical socket. And we've got the cabling running all the way through, right through the property. Above here, we've got the consumer unit, which all the power is going to run into. And that just allows me to know I've got a brand new property and everything is brand spanking new. So electrics are going to be up to standard of today. Come on through and I'll show you where the rest of that operates. Coming into bedroom number 1, the big change you guys will notice is that we have begun the boarding of the property. The walls obviously have got a plasterboard on. And obviously here we can also see some of the first fix has happened throughout the property. This casing is just there so that when we put the plasterboard or plaster, it just protects the wiring. It's just a protective measure. Underneath the windows, you'll see that we also have got some more first fix casings in the back of the plasterboard. Plaster is going to come plaster on top of these, and then these walls are just going to be very straight because at the moment the walls are a bit higgity-haggity. So we just want to make sure everything's flush and the walls are as they're meant to be. If you remember the arrangement, we have an ensuite in here, and then in this area is going to be a bed. This is going to be boxed off, and then there's going to be kind of a shelf on top, and that should sit just here. There'll be a chest of drawers on this side, TV sat on top. These sockets will be behind the TV, so ideally they shouldn't be seen. And then in this corner here, we're going to have a wardrobe. It's a very good space, so we're thinking to have something kind of bespoke to maximize the space. Hopefully someone with a lot of clothes can get all they need in that space too. The rest of the room is going to be plasterboarded, and then we'll start with the painting, etc. That's it for bedroom number 1. I'll take you into the communal kitchen where there's been some changes as well. Let's go in there. Straight into what is going to be the communal kitchen dining area. This area has had a little reconfiguration. In last video, I told you the new layout and plan. We're going to have like a U-shaped kitchen around the back. The sink unit is going to be here. There's going to be a dishwasher underneath, which I realized this is the power for the dishwasher, and then we'll have more units, wall and base in the kitchen. Here we're going to have the TV mounted on the wall. Luckily, because this is a brick wall, once the plasterboard is on it, it's been plastered, just drill straight into this, which is a save, making sure the TV is really strong and not dropping off the wall. Underneath, we're just going to have a table for the 5 tenants to then have dinner together. And as mentioned before, we're going to have an American style fridge freezer in the corner. So obviously you can see in the ceiling, we've got plasterboard. Why we have pink plasterboard is because it's fireboard. Obviously being a kitchen, in the unlikely event of a fire, it's a regulation, it's a requirement from building regs. We need to make sure that this pink board is able to withstand fire. In the ceiling, you can see we have the wiring coming through for what's going to be the pendant lights. You can also see to the perimeter of the walls, we've had the first fix and the trunking for the wiring. This space does what it needs to do. We're not trying to overcomplicate things for this first project, but in the future, I've got amazing ideas that I would love to do. But for the space and what we have, we just maximized it and done what we could. Let's go through to what is like the utility area and another zone in the communal space. So as I said, this is the washing area. Not much has changed other than the first fix for the washer, dryer and washing machine. You can see here we've begun the plasterboard for bedroom number 2. The majority of the time and progress on the project so far has been spent on the garage conversion, which is going to be bedroom number 2. A lot of the cabling is here for what's going to go through to the garage. Coming into the ensuite for bedroom number 2. Here you can see we have pipe work for what's going to be a radiator above. There'll be a toilet sat here. The sink unit will be there. And then to that side, there'll be the shower cubicle. Why I like this is because we've not had to make any new openings. We've worked really well with the floor plan to maximize the windows so that we don't even need to kind of create new openings, add into additional costs. A big thing with HMOs is to make sure that you're using the floor plan to your advantage. This would have been an additional cost if we had to knock through and create new windows. Probably would have had to go to planning for some of it because it's external. But because I'm working with a good team who are experienced in what they're doing, they've leveraged the floor plan and we're able to maximize the space we have. Let's go to the back of the property and I'll show you what the boys have been working on for the most of the month, which is creating the divide from the back of the garage to the front of the garage. Whilst we're at the back of the property, I wanted to talk you guys through what's been the bane of my life for the last month. So basically, we're at the back now and you can see the boys are hard at work at the garage. We've had to have building control who are basically in as external consultants to make sure what we're doing is in line with building regulations. As part of that, we've had to make sure we dig down into the existing garage to understand what the foundations are and how deep they are. Foundations, for those that are not aware, is basically concrete below the ground to be able to take the load of the brickwork above. So to the perimeter of the garage, there's a foundation underneath all the brickwork, and the building control inspector was basically saying it needs to be deeper. Then I had the structural engineer who is there to make sure the loads are sufficient, basically say it's all fine. So I found myself in the middle of an argument between the structural engineer and the building control officer. And in the end, it turns out the structural engineer, who is my consultant, was correct. I was looking at a potential additional cost of 20K plus if building control were to stay strong on their word. Thankfully, it didn't go that route, but it just shows you how you need to have a contingency on a project, because something that you didn't foresee at the beginning could come and bite you in the bum, and then afterwards you have to just find a way and make it work. So what's happened? Now we've basically got out of that rut. The guys on site have dug a strip foundation and we've built a dividing wall between the garage to separate storage at the back as well as the extension into bedroom number 2. Thankfully, it's been not too much additional cost, but it's been a nightmare and it's been causing me stress, but there's been massive learning so far. But again, in a future video, I explain the lessons learned on the project. It just shows property doesn't always go smoothly, and you need to have the tenacity behind you to get through the things. Let's go upstairs to the first floor and I'll show you what's happening up there. So coming into bedroom number 3, not much is changing here other than we have begun the boarding. The boys are again working very hard. Whilst the boys are down there, there's another team up here, plasterboarding the property before we actually put some plaster on the walls. We can see first fix is happening. This is actually for one of the radiators. Like I said before, brick wall, TV is gonna go up on here. The bed will be that way. There'll be a desk kind of here with a socket underneath it. A wardrobe will be in this corner. Again, we can see there's a electrical cable for the main light, and then this is going to be for a fire alarm. In the future videos, you'll see how this progresses and it's actually going to start taking shape as an actual bedroom. Let's go through to bedroom number 4. Whilst I'm in the corridor, we have this good skylight. The builder actually was considering plasterboarding over it, and I was like, no, we need to make sure we keep this in. At the minute, we can see there's a bit of dust and debris, but once he goes up there with the boys, he's then going to be able to just brush it off to make sure as clean as possible. This area, I like how a lot of light comes into it. Obviously, it's a bit dark and dingy now, but once we've got the power and all the lights working, it'll be a very bright space. So let's go into bedroom number 4. As mentioned before, the bed is going to be here. There'll be a desk at low level here. And obviously, you can see we have begun the plasterboard to the ensuite as well as the ceiling. One thing I'm happy to show you guys is in the ceiling, we are putting some insulation above. The reason why we are doing that is because we want all the rooms to be very toasty for our customers. So we see our tenants as our customers. It's not just their tenants getting paid the bills. We want to make sure we're creating a very good experience for them. And part of that is making sure they're well insulated. Additional reason for doing that is also we are trying to raise the EPC rating of the property. EPC stands for Energy Performance Certificate. At the end of the property, once we have done all the work, we're hoping to take the property to a C and above to make sure there's longevity in the property going forward. How we do that is obviously insulating all the perimeter walls, making sure the heating systems, the radiators are top quality, and that way the tenants have no reason to be cold in the winter months. Here you can see we have layers of insulation, The plasterboard is boarded up and then we'll be plastering directly over that. Let's go through to bedroom number 5. Just coming into bedroom number 5, we have begun the boarding. What we are happy about again is because it's not the biggest of rooms, the bed is going to go on this back wall. We've had to be creative with the space we have, and we've created this little nook and opening, which is going to double up as a wardrobe. Behind us is then going to be the ensuite. So the door's going to open up this way. There'll be a shower unit on this side, sink in the middle, and then a toilet to the side. At this corner, we're gonna have a chest to drawer, and the TV is gonna be wall mounted at high level, and then it's gonna be on a swivel bracket. So whoever's in bed in that corner can kind of watch TV from the bed, and everything just works as it needs to. Again, it's not the most biggest of rooms, but when making the most of the space we have, it meets and even surpasses the minimum standards of the room size in the area. And we spoke to a local agent and they've said it will still work, it will still rent out, because we've done the numbers and the due diligence before to make sure we're investing in the right areas. That is basically the end of this month 2 update. Obviously from the last video, you can see there's progress inside. The bulk of the progress has actually happened externally, which is in the garage. The main thing that has been taking the most of the time this past month is the back and forth with building control and structural engineer. Me not being here investing remotely has meant I have had to leverage the builder and my build team. That's why it's so important that you have a power team and you have that good relationship with. Luckily, because I'm a project manager, I'm able to have that set in stone from the outset. But a big tip is if you're ever investing remotely, leverage the people who are on site and local to be able to mean things can still move forward without you being there. If I could go back, there's actually nothing I could have done differently with regards to the garage. Nonetheless, I'm still happy. The project has not gone off program, and it just shows that you have to have the tenacity. You have to be problem solver to be able to move through these things and think about the end vision, which is the property complete, everyone moving in, and we're moving on to the next one. I wanna thank you so much for getting this far in the video. I will put a link up to the rest of the videos that we've done previously. If these kind of videos inspire you, feel free to like and subscribe. I've been Kelvin, thank you so much. And talking through all the different bits. Pause. That was shit. So at the minute, get out. I realize I'm not looking at the camera. Let's go upstairs to the first floor and I'll show you the get out. In these Victorian homes kind of look like this. So I'm just waffling now. Pause. In here, you can see that we've got some. What the f is this? Coming down, sorry. The extension into bedroom number 2. Done. I don't know if I can talk about it anymore. Okay, now this is crazy.